award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching, for listening. We got another great show lined up for you today. We are on location at the Cumberland River Aquatic Center, also known as CRAC. And Don, glad to have you back, co-host. It's been a few shows.
You bet, man. I'm so out of practice, but I appreciate the invite to come back. I've been out doing other stuff, but anyway.
Well, you've been behind the scenes too.
That's right.
You were helping with some camera work and things going on with the shows.
East Tennessee, our trip over there. So yeah, it's been good. And but like I said, it's good to be back. And hey, we do have a little change to talk about as far as radio stations go.
It's a new year. There'll be some change. I think it's a good change.
Yeah, I believe so too. Right here in Nashville, WTN Talk Radio. We have been previously on at 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings.
Yep.
Kind of driving home or driving to church time, But we've shifted. We've been able to shift to a slot in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. So WTN here in Nashville, 10 o'clock Saturday mornings.
Yes.
Now. So anyway, got that out of the way. And our other 23 radio stations, thank you so much for covering us week to week.
Yeah. I'm excited about that new slot. I mean, a lot of our hunters, our fishermen, our followers are out and about on Saturday mornings. It's a good time to tune in.
Yep.
Especially if you're in Nashville area.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's great news, and I appreciate you sharing that with the folks. Good to have you back here helping me co-host it. But today we're going to be talking with David Sims. He's an aquatic biologist for the agency, been around a while. Ever since I've been working with the agency, we've worked together, and it's been great working with you, and I'm glad to have you here on the show. Is this the first time on Wildcast? I believe it may be. Yeah. So we waited too long, but we're glad you're on today. But he's an aquatic biologist for the agency, and he's had quite a few roles. So I just want to first off let you introduce yourself and get to know you, and then we're going to talk about what we see behind us.
Okay. Well, I started back in back in 1986 as the Sumner County Wildlife Officer.
Okay.
Did that until 97, and then took the Region 2 Aquatic Habitat Protection Biologist position, and I held that until, I guess, about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And then just stepped up to another biologist position from that.
Uh-huh.
So still doing the same thing, though, pretty much.
Yeah.
Started out in law enforcement. So.
Yeah. Well, I did law enforcement here until I just had to give up my commission when it turned a certain age. So I don't do that anymore. But I enjoyed doing all that. It helped with the job.
Yeah.
Well, with many of our employees and folks who work for us, they have a passion for hunting and fishing. Is that how you got introduced to the job, or is that what you wanted to do all your life?
Yeah, pretty much. When I went through school, that was the one I knew I couldn't do being a vet. Everybody was like, I went to school with everybody. When we got into wildlife and fisheries, it's like everybody, we were going to be vets. And it's like, no, we couldn't be vets. So it was a pretty tough school. So a lot of us turned out just being wildlife officers. Several of us got on. It's like a whole family of us that went to UT that did. And then, of course, the other universities that are here. So it's been like a big family for my whole career. It's really nice.
And the good thing is, and we have to kind of keep reminding folks, but in order to work in wildlife as a wildlife officer, you have to have a degree in forestry, fisheries, or wildlife, or something related
biological
to
background.
that.
Yeah.
And so you already had the platform, didn't you? I mean, you've been out doing the protection and that kind of thing. So it was a fairly easy or a good transition for you.
Yeah, it was different at first because I come from East Tennessee. And coming down here, there was deer here.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was, keep thinking how far back it was.
Yeah.
I think the first year or two that I worked here, the deer kill in Sumner County was under 300. It's like 219 or something less than 300.
Yeah.
And then I think I just saw last week it's 2,400 now. It's fourth in the state. And I'm like, wow, we did pretty good job back in the day.
Yeah. Sumner County has produced some big bucks.
Yeah, we've had some big ones too.
If you
world
remember,
record.
Yeah. world non-typical came out of Middle Tennessee, Sumner County. I think it's been beat now, I think, but anyway, that was cool, and it's just awesome to see the deer. I mean, I saw 2 nice bucks this morning. One right here on this property,
right,
and then one just coming in. So it's pretty cool to see. You see deer a lot more now.
That's a good place to work out here.
Yeah,
you see deer every day here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the reason we're here today is to cover the Cumberland River Aquatic Center, and kind of how it's evolved. We got more shows to come on what's happening behind us, but I kind of wanted to talk to David. He was instrumental in the first aquatic center
early on
in the first location on this property. But it's a story. I'll let David start it, but just kind of start us out. Where did it start, and how these projects get started?
Well, it all got started. Back, I'm trying to think, around 2005 or 6, somewhere in there. I was going to the state freshwater mollusk meeting, freshwater mussel meeting, and we have it every year in December. And the biologists were just a lot of the state agencies were and universities were just starting to propagate mussels, and everybody were doing it really good, but they could get the mussels to propagate and drop off the little juvenile mussels, but then they'd only go so long, and then they'd die. They weren't having real good success, and then the person that's running our facility now, just so happens back then, she gave a paper talking about how they set up a facility on a creek that had mussels in it, and they started doing the same process there, and they had like 85 to 90% success. So it was a huge leap, is what she figured out for everybody.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that meeting, because whenever I was at the meeting, I thought, well, I know where there's 10 raceways that's not being used here at the Gallatin steam plant. And so I kept on trying to bring it up to the society every year or two there, and they just didn't believe me, I guess, at first. And so I went to my boss, Dave McKinney, at the time, and I said, hey, what do you think about us trying to do this? And Dave was on board. He said, yeah. And so he said, go talk to the plant manager. So I come up and talked to the plant manager, and it took a year or two, but we finally ended up with a manager here that when I went to talk to him about if they'd be interested in letting us try to refurbish the old raceways, he was to raise mussels. He was like, mussels? He goes, I used to toe dig when I was a kid, so he knew what freshwater mussels were. Wow. He's from the river down west, and so it turned out really good. He let us. He just said, "Here, have at it." And Dave McKinney come up with some money somehow or another, a little bit of money here and there. He always had some money somewhere, but we had money, but we didn't have projects, and we got started with it. And with the help from a lot of agency people. I mean, we had the crew from Cheatham Wildlife Management Area come out here. They helped build and clean. Of course, Don Hubbs and Freddie Couch, they come. And a lot of the officers, I know I'm going to forget people. And then the Old Hickory WMA people come. And it was a lot of work to get the old facility up, because it had been walked away from in the late 70s. Wow. And they just
I remember seeing it all grown over, and
it was bad. I mean, all there was really was just 10 concrete 50-foot raceways with a rusted metal roof on it and trees and everything else. And
you saw that, and you had the vision.
Thought,
you knew, hey, I know
it might work. I said we might be able to get this to work.
Yeah.
And like I said, with a lot of help from people, we got 2 raceways plumbed. Once the manager here said, yeah, go ahead. And, of course, they did a lot of work to help us, too, because, I mean, the water lines were all coming to the place, and they had to put a new header on it. And that's when I started learning about industrial-size plumbing and stuff. It's expensive.
You become a plumber.
Yeah. A little bit of plumbing in my background now. But I didn't know how expensive it was just for a 10-inch gate valve. It's a lot of money, more than I thought, but they paid for it because they were wanting us to try to succeed too.
Awesome.
So they did that for us, and then we did all the rest of the plumbing and everything, and got it going in 2 raceways. We went and got some mussels. I can't even remember where I got them from, somewhere close, and we just put them in the raceways over the winter, and they survived. So we're like, okay, that's a good thing. So let's give it a go.
Well, one of the key things about that you mentioned kind of early was the water quality and where the water was coming from. That's what made this spot so special, right?
Well, it's the availability of a flow through river water.
Okay.
That's where the animals are from. It's right. From the river here.
Yep.
The Cumberland River fauna or mussel species aren't just taking off by no means, but they're still here and they're hanging on. But it's not. I don't believe this is me. I don't believe it's a water quality issue. I just believe there's other physical things that's a problem. But and so just having that availability of water always flowing, because what it is, the water that we use is kind of through their fire suppression system, so it's always going to be running. And so we've having that water all the time, and they don't charge us anything for that. And the plant manager, when he's talking about electricity, I never will forget, he looked at me and just kind of, I think we might have some of that around here. And I was like, I walked right into that one.
On the drive in, looking at all those gigantic, oh gosh,
Yeah, they had plenty, and we haven't had any problem with, having power here. But they got us wired back up to a box, and then we took it from there.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went from there. From the 2 raceways, we eventually got the 10 raceways up and running. And that was, a major help, not just only with TWRA letting us start here, but the Corps of Engineers is one of these things that just meant to be. Good Lord was watching over this one, because we're about to run out of our money, and the Wolf Creek Dam project started for the Corps of Engineers. And one of their managers come to our agency asking, hey, do y'all have any projects with the Cumberland River? Because we've got this mitigation money we'd like to go ahead and put out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What timing.
It is meant to be. Because, we got like $235,000 over a couple of years there. And that's what really got us our feet under us as far as all the plumbing, all the electricity. And then, of course, TWRA come back in at the old place, put a roof on it for us. We didn't, they just saw what we were doing and like, hey, we need to help them. And so TWRA has just been, you couldn't ask for better partners.
That's good.
The Corps and them have really stepped up, and the Fish and Wildlife Service, of course, got involved too. And so it's been just going up from that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in the old facility, there was a rebuild. You had a classroom eventually.
Had a little 25 by 12 classroom. It was kind of long, but it worked. And then we had a little lab or propagation room there, same size, and then a little office. And that was great, because before that, we had a FEMA trailer that we got. That was back after Katrina. And
I remember that.
Feds, we drove down to Alabama and we got several trailers, but I got one for up here. And I really enjoyed that this time of year when it's rainy and wet and cold. I had a place to store stuff, because we didn't even have an outbuilding at the time. But once we got the classroom and everything going, it was a pretty nice little facility. It's not a facility like this by no means, but we were able to do stuff and pretty proud of it. But then the TWRA had their scrubber project come in, and we were in their footprint, and there weren't no place they could move us right here close. And so we had to shut it down, and we moved up to a little building that we rented we bought a little, just an outbuilding, I guess a 10 by 20.
Yeah.
Up and put it on the Old Hickory WMA up there. And we just put a pump down there at the dock and run water in. And we had 4 like live mini tanks that you'd see at a store. And we just run water in there, and the mussels that we had got going at the old facility before it shut down, we moved them up there, and we were able to keep them alive there for about 1.5 to 2 years at least. And then things changed, and we ended up, TWRA built this beautiful state-of-the-art facility for us.
It is nice.
And we actually got to move some of those mussels down here, the first ones. But we were working with Tennessee Tech at the old facility, and that also proved that we could work with endangered species there. And we had, working with them, along with the stuff we were doing, we probably had at least 12 endangered species mussels that we were raising over there.
Wow.
And then we got into the lake sturgeon.
That's what I was going to say. There was more than just mussels happening over there. Y'all had other species. The sturgeon projects were cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the plan was we wanted it to be not just a mussel facility. Anything aquatic and native to Tennessee. Anything. So we've been able to do that. We had the lake sturgeon. We held Nashville crayfish over there for a while when we had to. Then we had alligator gar at one time. I loved working with them. Them are neat animals.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've held saugers and stuff. We worked with our fisheries guys if we had room and they needed something to do or a place to hold some fish or something.
Yeah.
Because they've done a lot of work for us, too, helping us out. So we just try to help out when we could. But now we're kind of full, though. We don't have a lot of extra room for stuff anymore. But we still work with the lake sturgeon, though.
Yeah, let's talk about this facility. As you can see behind us, if you're watching this show, there's a lot going on here. It's so much different than the first facility.
Oh, yeah.
We're all indoors now, where you were outside a lot of the times and the others. And,
it was just a roof over the right. You were out in the elements.
Yeah. Oh, and predators, too. Did you have predator problems?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great blue herons.
Yeah.
Possums and raccoons. Yeah, I could stories about them. But, yeah.
So this is a big upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, tell us a little bit about what's going on behind us and what you see that's going on here. This is great.
Oh, this is just part of the story out here. This is where we hold adult mussels. We hold the brood stock. We're holding the host fish here.
Yeah.
Out here. The juveniles, once they get a certain size, those are kept when they first drop off. They're in our propagation room.
Okay.
It's another room.
Yeah.
Because they have to be more controlled. But once they get a certain size, then we move them out here. We have more room for more juveniles in there.
But the square footage, a big change, and you got a classroom here as well and offices.
This part is the same size, except we were able to make it. They just asked, what do we want? And so I talked with some of our hatchery people, David Roddy.
Yeah.
And talked to whoever I could that had actually done some hatchery buildings and stuff. And we come across, we'll just make it open and have our drains in the floor. And then that way we can move stuff around instead of having concrete raceways that are built in. And plus you had to crawl over or get in the tanks before. Now we've got shelving units. We got things that we can do just way, way more manageable and to where you can change things, whenever you need to.
Yeah, that's great, because I remember when we first visited 2015, right? 2014, 15, something like that, when this place just finished, was just built. There was a couple of round circular raceways or hubs. Yeah. And it was nothing like this. I mean, the piping, the plumbing and everything, the electrical that's been put in and the progress that's been made, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the classroom here. We do have a bigger classroom. We have several. We give tours here. It's usually by word of mouth. The last couple of years, of course, with COVID, we couldn't do it. But we've already had probably two already this year. And that's a big part of what we've always wanted to do here is to let people try to educate them what we could, or at least make them aware, not educate, but make them aware of what's out on the rivers. Because I grew up in East Tennessee, and I fished before I went to high school. When I come back home, when I went to university, I'd fish in between classes there at UT.
Yeah.
And so that's all I did, and I didn't know a thing. I mean, I remember picking up one mussel when I was the only one I ever saw was up there on the Holston River one time. Of course, I killed it thinking I could find a pearl. I know. So I'm trying to pay back that.
We lived and we learned.
Yes. Yeah. That was one. It's kind of like a BB gun. That's another story. I'm still paying for that one. But at least mussels, I think I'm catching up on that. They didn't know it. But it's just the people, the fishermen and stuff that I've run into out and about, just the general public even. Once you have a few minutes to explain them or show them these freshwater mussels, they just like, oh, you're kidding me. So, I mean, that's always been a goal, is to try to make people more aware of them, because it's just like anything else, out of sight, out of mind, you know. But if they can see them and we can show them and give a good presentation of their life cycle and how things are, they're just amazed.
Yeah.
We're still learning things about them. So it's pretty, it's neat to be at the forefront of something that's just now starting and stuff. So
Yeah.
makes your job fun.
And a lot of these species are endangered, and trying to bring them back, and
Right.
we're seeing success there. And
Yep.
We're going to talk more with Dan on some of this in future shows. But it's amazing to see the work y'all are doing here, and it's
That's the
paying
goal.
off. Yeah.
Is to delist them, downlist them, get them off the
Yep.
list. That's the whole thing.
That's
We're
the
not-
success story.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's it. And that helps everybody. And then that cuts out red tape or issues that you have environmentally
Yep.
if they're not on that list. So that is probably one of the main, that is the main thrust that we try to do here is to do that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of those folks, like you said, you run into on the water fishing or out people out hunting, you tell them those stories, they understand, and they're like, oh yeah, I can help with this, or I could do my part here or there, and be more cautious, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then, like I said, the schools, once they come out here, they come every year.
Uh-huh.
Once they go through the program we give, they want to come back.
That's good.
So and so hopefully we'll keep gaining on that too. Of course, it's hard when you're just up and going, and it takes a lot of work, and the people here are doing an awful lot. So
Yep.
we don't want to get in their way, but we'll schedule it for people if they want to try to do one. We'll try to figure out a way to get them in here.
Yeah. And you're touching those kids, and touching them before they might get out there and destroy something or mess something up or do something they shouldn't. It's great. Yeah.
Plus, they pass it on real good too.
Pass it on. Yeah.
Yeah, they go home and tell their mom and dad about it, and then we'll get a call from them. They want to know, wait a minute, is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
That's
Yeah,
neat.
It's amazing.
That's neat.
Well, I wanted to touch on the partnerships. You mentioned partnerships early on, but some of the same partners were instrumental in this build, right?
Yeah, TVA built this facility. We still had some of the core money left over as far as bringing in the tanks and things.
Yeah.
Fish and Wildlife Services has granted us some money and stuff. I'm sure there's probably some other partners that I'm missing.
Well, and just the support from leadership too to make this happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just been one of those. It just was a good idea, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, let's do it." It was like bringing lake sturgeon back to the Cumberland River. Our chief of fisheries at the time, I was talking to him about this facility or something other, and I said, "Oh, by the way," I said, I'd like to get lake sturgeon back into the Cumberland River." He just looked at me like, why hadn't we done that? I mean, we've been putting them in the Tennessee for 14, 15 years.
Uh-huh.
And so he was like, well, let's see about doing that. So 6 months later, we've been letting them go. And the ones in the Cumberland River are doing great.
Oh,
I mean,
great.
we've got them over 100 pounds already.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some monsters out there. And that was sort of my whole goal. I would love to get them back here and let lake sturgeon be a sport fisheries.
Uh-huh.
And actually I think there was some stuff going on below Center Hill this last year where the guides were actually taking people to fish for them.
Yeah. Although you're not supposed to keep them, right?
Or you're not supposed to fish for them either.
Yeah. Right.
But that, I think all that's been worked out and all, but hopefully everybody will not be trying to catch them because they're just such a neat animal. They got to be 14, 15 years old before they even reproduce.
Right. Yeah.
And so we're now getting to that age where they're there, and then they got to find and that might have been what those ones were doing, was starting to go up there. Of course, they weren't big adults that were up there, but I'm sure they're starting. So that'll be a great day when we start getting reproduction in the Cumberland River.
Yeah.
So I think it'll happen. Hopefully I'll be around. I don't know.
Yeah. Get to experience.
I want to try to be.
Well, in the last few minutes that we've got here, you've helped this facility become what it is and been a big major part of that. But now the work begins. You're out helping the teams as they're out diving or whatever, collecting. And
there's a whole bunch of people that do all the diving and stuff. I'm just one of the lucky ones who gets to have the boat. And we just the agency purchased this boat, I guess, 2 years ago, and it's you couldn't ask for a better dive platform.
Oh man, that's great.
Because we went from an old fisheries used plate bottom boat where you had to run, this time of year you're doing surveys, you go run 5 miles down lake, dive for a couple hours, and then get back in it, and then run back in that cold. It's not very fun. I mean, I love to dive, but I really didn't like those drives to and back. And so, and we stepped up from that. We got a cuddy cabin, which was a hand-me-down from our boating folks, it worked great, and that's where we got the ideas on how to design this new one that we got. And the new one, though, is just it's just a pleasure to work out of it because it's so much safer.
That's good.
This new boat is so much safer than the older ones as far as being able to control different situations.
Uh-huh.
So and hopefully, we'll get the time sometime later. We'll be able to show you all our goodies.
Yeah, you got cameras and things that you can get footage of these critters down below, and it's the technology's coming along, and to have that ability to get down there and see.
It's simple to use for people like me. Now, to the video edit and all that, I have to go to you guys.
I'll send that to Todd.
There we go. We'll give him something to do. I'd love to do some more work on that with y'all. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's neat to hear about the projects and the things that are going on, and we want to highlight those as much as we can and try to get out there and and share that with everybody. It's more than just hunting and fishing.
Oh yeah.
There's all kinds
because
of stuff.
What we work with, it does help the fish.
Yeah.
And of course, you got to have fish to be able to raise the mussels. If the fish aren't there, it don't matter how good the water quality is or how many mussels you got.
Right.
They can't reproduce.
Right.
So it's part of that circle you got to have. So
we're going to learn a lot more about that in the next 2 episodes, I believe.
Probably.
Yeah.
I know I learned a lot. I probably learned some more too if I listen.
Yeah. Well, Dan, or David, I appreciate you being on the show and doing this with us. And just as we wrap up here, anything else you want to share with the folks that are listening?
Oh, shoot. Just hopefully, if you get a chance to give us a call, give me a call or give y'all a call, and y'all can get them to me, and we'll get them out here if they want to have a tour and
that'd be
or
great.
A class or something like that. We'd like to keep it under around 20.
And it's kind of off the beaten path, too.
But you can't,
public isn't invited out here.
No, this is behind the gate. You got to have a key to get in here.
Right.
which is good on some things, but not on other. But TWA's all, like I said, behind this project 100% and been just unbelievable.
That's great.
I can't thank the Corps, Fish and Wildlife Service, TVA, and all the universities and all the people with our agency that's helped make this come about. It's just been unreal.
That's good.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And thanks for having the vision to get this thing all started.
It just something happened. I got lucky. It's one of those days.
That's what it takes. It takes somebody with that vision to make the suggestion or find the location or whatever it may be, and then pull the people together to make it happen. So,
Yep.
Good work. Well, this is Tennessee Wildcast. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Remember, tmwildlife.org for all things Tennessee wildlife. And I guess we'll see you next time. Thanks, Don.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.